Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Race to 100. I'm Rick Storsell.
And I'm Neil Batang.
And we are on episode number 94. Wow. Just one more week to go.
One more week to go, man.
The end is in sight. So let me ask you, seen any good horror movies lately?
Any good horror movies lately? No, I've seen a bunch of terrible, just absolutely.
That's right, you had the Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad wasn't
weekend.
as bad as people
it was
made
bad.
it out to be. It was smooth. I guess the hype around it wasn't met, so everyone thought it was going to be like a 10 out of 10, when in actuality it was like a 5 or 6 out of 10. So viewers and spectators were underwhelmed, unfortunately, but I liked it.
I was pretty underwhelmed.
It was smooth.
But the reason why I ask about horror movies is we have a real-life horror movie going on in Baltimore right now.
Yeah.
A report by the Department of Justice was just released today in the wake of the Freddie Gray killings last year. And
that their judicial system, or their way of policing people, it's historically corrupt, to say the least.
That's to say the least, definitely. Yeah, so what the article more or less points out is that there is rampant police, unconstitutional policing going on in a community of Baltimore that is 66% black. And they outline all of, not just the raw numbers, which are horrifying in themselves. You know, there's one stat that says 91% of people who were stopped for crimes like resisting arrest or trespassing, which was the equivalent of standing on a corner for too long, were black. 91% were black. I mean, it's just outrageous. But then they go beyond that, and they tell these anecdotal stories, which are just horrendous.
Yeah, like black folk being unlawfully searched, and when they are strip searched the way it's happening,
in
people
public
have been groped inappropriately. Oh my goodness, genitals were touched, and the evidence or complaints were kind of tossed under the table, unfortunately. So I guess what this report by the Department of Justice confirms is that Baltimore, for the longest time, has had a problem with correctly policing the civilians. And I guess now this report is just coming about, and we can talk about the Freddie Gray incident that happened recently. Maybe we can relate that in terms
You know, it was interesting too, and sort of a sad conclusion to this whole saga was that when reporters asked if this was in any way the evidence that was provided related to Freddie Gray, the mayor and the police chief said, no, this didn't have anything to do with Freddie Gray.
Yeah.
And this didn't mean anything in the Freddie Gray case. When, I mean, you can't separate the two.
Yeah.
The fact that something like that happened under those particular circumstances, and then to outline this, just, I mean, it seems like this, you know, I'm not much into conspiracy theories, but this seems like just a massive cover-up of disproportionate scale. You have officers, you know, sergeant riding along with a rookie cop saying something to the extent of, you know, get that black kid over there, and the rookie officer responds, for what? And he says, well, find something. Like, really?
Find something. He's black. I mean, driving while black, walking while black, chewing gum while black,
shivering. There was a homeless guy standing on the street who was cold, and the police came up to him, and because he was shivering, they called that suspicious behavior, and so they patted him down and humiliated him there, and then ended up arresting him because the report details how there was this ongoing effort to try and enforce what a lot of police officers within this community felt like would help, you know, clean up crime or whatever the case may be, when it was just plain racist. It was just plain wrong, and the behavior of a lot of these cops never were punished. And most of these cops got away.
And unfortunately, those responsible, the police officers responsible for the death of Freddie Gray, none have been punished. I know the initial calls said something along the extent of, hey, he's been using some drugs and acting kind of crazy. Could you guys please send some of the boys over to handle this kid? And they didn't correctly buckle his seatbelt as they were transporting him to the police station while arresting him. He died from injuries suffered due to the negligence of our police officers, and no one was to blame but Freddie Gray and the Gray family for whatever reason. So again,
and that was indicative, I think, of a lot of the examples that the Justice Department pointed out. So that over and over again, there was something like only 4 or 5 firings over the course of like 5 years when this rampant behavior was going on, and it was no one was doing anything to correct it. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things that every time we think that we're making some sort of progress, and for the city of Baltimore too, our thoughts definitely go out to all of them who are having to deal with this. And the reality is that not all cops in Baltimore are scumbags. It's just, unfortunately, the ones who are horrendous scumbags who end up still polluting the police force today.
But again, the big problem, and I've told this to police officers I know, is that when a cop wrongfully acts, more often than not, police officers are reluctant, to acknowledge the wrongdoing of their peers, of their fellow officers.
Yeah.
So again, I say Black Lives Matter all the time, but if a black person goes and shoots a bunch of police officers and yells "Black Lives Matters," I will not condemn that. I will not condone that. I condemn that. I'll frown upon it. I will not hold my hand high and say "good for you," because even though that's my peer and we might be saying the same thing, we are going about it in 2 different ways.
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
There's a double standard when it comes to white people who tend to be more conservative in their views on race and the rest of the country, which I think is a little more rational.
Exactly.
At least we hope. I know our viewers are more rational.
Yeah. Some of them are. Most of them are, for the most part. And we appreciate the contributions you guys have made to our YouTube channel. So feel free to like, comment, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for more access to episodes of Race to 100. None of this would be possible without the contributions of our viewers and subscribers. We appreciate all of your support. With that being said, I'm Neil Batang.
I'm Rick Thorcell, and we will catch you next time on the Race to 100. Peace.